recording, as you see, it says in the upper left corner our timer. So if you
Uh-huh.
want to know how long we've gone, the upper left corner is the timer. You should see it, right?
Yeah, it says 8 seconds, no, 10 seconds. Yeah,
Yeah.
there we
So
go.
as long as you can see, you'll know how long we're going and everything.
Yeah.
All right. Let me get the music keyed.
Mhm.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast Retro Life for You, movies of the 1980s. My name is Chris Adams, host of the show, and we are without the services of Mr. Travis Rollins this week. He is, as you guys know, he said before, he lives in South Carolina, so he's pretty bad affected by these storms right now, and no electricity or anything right now for a good while. We have no ETA on that. So, good friend of the show here, Mr. Martin Phillips, sitting in this week. Y'all
What
might
up there,
remember.
Christopher?
Might remember Marty from our last Halloween when we did Trick or Treat. I believe it was last Halloween, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
we
So we're
we talked about some trick or treat and
yeah,
where Ozzy pulls out some certain where the actual demon pulls out Ozzy through the TV. So
yeah. So it's been a little bit too long since you've been on, so we gotta have this fixed where you're a little bit more often. Every
very
year
cool,
is just
very cool.
not. Once a year is just not good enough.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So just saying. Um, so the movie this week we're gonna do that Travis is missing out on. He's gonna kill me. But we're doing Fright Night. So, or as the script says here, we're sinking our teeth into the 1985 cult classic Fright Night.
hmm And
Only
such a good movie it is.
it is definitely directed by Tom Holland. He did Fright Night. He's done Child's Play.
Not the Spider-Man Tom Holland.
Not the Spider Man. I get asked that by friends all the time. If I mention here lately, I've mentioned the name Tom Holland quite often, and they're going, "He did a good job at Spider Man." I said, "Yeah, I don't think he did nothing in 1985, though."
Yeah.
I don't think that was the case. Um, so yeah, Tom Holland, Fright Night 2, Child's Play. He did some TV movies that are Stephen King related. He did The Stand, and
Mhm.
what was it? Some it was a Tommy Knockers. I think he did.
Yeah, it was Tommy Knockers. Yeah,
Tommy
I looked
Knockers,
it
yeah.
up.
And
Yeah.
also, I think did he also do
He did Thinner too. So
Thinner? Okay,
yeah.
but not Stephen King related though, not horror. Didn't he do Cloak and Dagger?
Yes, I
I
did
think
see that in his credits.
yeah, I think he
So
did Cloak and Dagger as well, which I love that movie. I'm gonna do
uh,
that one of these days. I haven't got to it yet, but I really want to do Cloak and Dagger.
oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's
That and Daryl, I think they came out around the same time. So
close around the same time. Yeah, because I like both of them. They were both really good. That was a good year for movies though when they came out though. Um, I've argued before. I think the middle of the 1980s, from like let's say from 84 to 88, that cuts out the last 2 years and the first 3 years. But that
uh,
time frame between there, I thought had most of the best movies of the 80s when they came out.
oh, definitely, definitely.
So,
Yeah.
plot of the movie for
Action.
anybody who just happens to not have seen this movie. Um, it's based off the character Charlie Brewster, and he is a high school student who has an interest in horror films. His life takes a sharp turn when he realizes his new neighbor, Jerry Dandrige, who is played by Chris Sarandon, is a vampire. And of course, no one wants to believe him, and it's up to Charlie to stop Jerry from terrorizing his neighborhood. More or less, it's up to him to survive because he found out that Charlie knew he was a vampire. So,
Yeah.
more or less
Yeah.
for his own personal safety. But, well, one of the most fun
And
aspects of this, huh?
that whole scene where he's literally like, the girl's like undressing and everything, and she takes off her bra, and then it's like, and then you see Jerry Dandridge. he's like leaning back, and then the teeth start showing, and he goes in for the kill,
Uh-huh.
and then he sees Charlie across. I mean, literally like looking at him,
Right.
and then the fangs go back, and then she's looking, he's looking, and then all of a sudden he reaches up and he grabs the little round pinwheel and then pulls the shade down, and he's got these long ass fingernails that they're like this
Right.
long.
Right. Like that's not hiding anything right there, is it? Not
Yeah.
at all. Come on, dude. Uh, Lord. Oh my gosh. What was I gonna say? Hold on. I lost my spot on my page here. Oh, here we go. I said here we go. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So one, actually, there's a lot to talk about this movie, so I don't want to waste too much time on this one part here. But the movie itself, Marty, it's got this really good mix of humor and horror both to it. It's not really funny.
Exactly.
It is kind of humorous in parts, with Stephen Jeffries, I believe, is the guy
Yeah.
that played Evil or Evil Ed.
Yeah. He's glad. Yeah.
He throws a little humor into it for sure, playing jokes on Charlie and things of that nature. And I gotta say this, I keep saying, of course, Charlie, this is kind of cracking me up in a way. 2 weeks in a row for movies we're talking about, and we got characters named Charlie.
Well,
Got Charlie
oh yeah,
Brewster.
Charlie
Charlie Brewster
Brewster
this week.
and
Charlie
Firestarter from
Charlie McGee, I think it was, or something like that.
Charlie McGee.
Yeah, we're on top of our Charlies. I got you. Taking care of
Well,
this.
third time's a charm. If you can find another Charlie, for next week.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. If there was a horror
Yeah.
version.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna jump into this movie here. So go ahead and grab your garlic and grab your steaks, and let's get ready to hammer into some vampires. You got to believe, though.
Oh yeah.
If you don't believe, it don't work.
If you don't have faith in it, it won't work.
That is right. He makes that perfectly clear.
Yeah, big time.
Laughs at him and destroys the cross and everything, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
he's all like, he just grabs the whole of it and just takes it out and just crunch.
So now I pretty much gave you the layout of the movie, what the plot is about and everything. Do you remember when the first time you saw this movie was?
Oh, let's see, it came out in '85. So I'm definitely gonna say I did not go to the theater and see it. It was probably either VHS or it could have been like on HBO or like the movie channels. You know how they were back in the day on the
Right.
cable networks. It was like you had like HBO, Cinemax. I think Showtime
Showtime.
might have been. I think
Showtime.
Showtime might have been around then,
Mm-hmm.
and then you had the movie channel. So it was one of those. So
I'm pretty sure it was VHS for me. I don't remember it being. We didn't have any movie channels. My mom wouldn't pay for movie channels anyway at that point. So we definitely was renting VHSs all the time though. So like not every weekend, but maybe twice a month or something. She'd take us to go rent movies, bring home watch on the VHS, or as I've mentioned before, even before that with the video disc players.
I actually still have mine down in the basement.
You probably do. I wish you guys could see some of the stuff he's got stashed in his basement. It would make you like, dude, you still have that?
Exactly.
Why not? I mean, hey, do you ever wonder if it plays still?
To tell you the truth, I would literally have to find an OTV to actually hook it up because none of these TVs nowadays has like the old coax cable or even my new Samsung here don't even have the RCA jack cables. I mean, it's just HDMI.
There are converters for a lot of stuff, though. You might find a converter for it versus getting an old TV to put it on. But hey,
Oh yeah.
but you know what though? You want that nostalgia though. You want the old TV to go with that exact thing.
You're
You
right,
want
right.
the tube TV.
hmm And then a lot of and speaking of the Laserdisc player, a lot of my stuff that I have down in the basement, you're not going to believe what I'm about to tell you. I
Oh, hold
actually
on, hold on, hold
sold.
on. Before you tell me, is it a
Yeah,
laser disc or a video disc player? There's two different things.
oh, it's a Laserdisc player.
Okay, because I was
It's
talking video disc players, not laser disc.
okay. No, I don't have a VHS downstairs.
No, not VHS. Do you remember the big video discs that were big like the
Yeah,
laser,
the
disc?
record. Yeah.
But they don't. But they were inside this plastic case, and you would have pushed the entire case into the front of the player, and then pull it
Uh,
out. It loaded the disc that way, and then when you wanted to, then
yeah,
it would stop halfway through the movie, and you got to
and
put
then
the
you'd have to
plastic
flip
case
it
back
over.
in and flip it
Yeah,
over.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's what I got downstairs. So,
Okay.
uh, I have episode 4, 5, and 6 of Star Wars: A New Hope, Empire, and Return of the Jedi.
So what are the
All on
days? So what are the days and times when nobody's home and I can come by there?
never.
Going to back my car up by the back porch. Just leave the door downstairs unlocked. Okay. Uh,
hmm
get
Oh
that
well,
stuff.
you'd have to get past my kid's dog down there too.
Oh, dogs love me. I'm not worried about it. They love me.
Yeah. Right.
So what I want to do here real quick before we jump into the cast and start talking about that, I'm gonna throw out the trailer here and give it a quick play. I want to, I just watched it yesterday myself. I think you've been a couple of months for you seen it. You said right, but we'll go ahead
It
and
was like it was last week. Uh, yeah, it was last week when I watched the first one. Then I watched the second one, and then on my lunch break today, I even jumped back on it and went to my favorite scenes. So
a quick refresher, everybody. A quick
yeah, a quick
refresher.
refresher.
All right, let's go ahead and bring this in real quick and get it played. And I'm sorry, of course, I know the people who are not watching the video aren't going to see this, but just go to the YouTube channel where we're at and check us out there, or go to the website www.retrolife, the number 4, the letter u.com, and you'll be able to go into the notes of the show and watch the video there as well. So
Yeah.
here we go.
Mom, there are people next door.
Oh, I guess the new owner's moving in. It's supposed to be very attractive.
There are two guys out in the yard, and I think they're carrying a coffin.
Charlie, do you want to make love or not?
hmm
There was a murder last night. Charlie thinks he saw the victim in this house.
I saw him carry her body out in a plastic bag.
Another body of a young woman was discovered early this morning in back of the Sheridan Mall.
The guy did have fangs, and a bat did fly over my head, and a second later, he stepped out of the shadows. And don't you see what that means?
Wait, let me guess. What?
I have a vampire living next door to me, and he's gonna kill me if I don't protect myself.
The vampire cannot enter your house without being invited first.
This is our next door neighbor, Jerry Dandrige.
Hello, Charlie.
Fright Night. Who's gonna feel tonight? Like you're going to win the fight. You're almost Fright Night. Who's it gonna be tonight? You're going to win the fight.
Definitely a good movie. I really, really do enjoy this movie.
Yeah. And then one of my favorite lines is, dinner is in the oven.
The guy, he played that role really well. It's very funny.
Oh yeah,
Really well.
Stephen
And it had
Joffrey.
that scene in there as well. You mentioned earlier where Charlie sees him through the window next door. They were showing
Mhm.
a bit part of that.
Yeah.
They didn't show the whole thing, but just a bit part of it.
Well, I don't think they could show exactly all of it because it had just a touch of nudity. So
Just a touch, but I mean it wasn't a touch too much or anything. It was just a
yeah,
touch.
true.
So, but jumping on the cast real quick, we got Chris Sarandon. He plays Jerry Dandrige, who's the vampire. Uh, I have not watched a ton of Chris Sarandon films, but this one and Princess Bride are probably my two favorite of his.
Yeah.
What?
That's about where my extent is.
Yeah,
This movie and Princess Bride.
William Ragsdale played Charlie Brewster. Now, I don't know a whole lot about him other than the Fright Night movies.
I want to say, didn't he have a TV show in the 90s that was on Channel 17?
A TV show in the 90s?
Yeah, I could have swore he did some TV in the 90s after he did the Fright Night movies.
Now I can tell you, I'm looking here what he's known for. Was it Herman's Head?
I think that's it. Herman's Head. And that
All
was
the
on
little
TV.
people, in his head and everything. TV
Yeah.
series from 91 to 94, 72 episodes.
Yeah, 91 to 94. Yeah.
You know, I completely forgot about Herman's Head. I do remember it being on, but I definitely completely forgot about it though. Here as of most recently, I mean, he's even been in the movie. He was in Renfield as an older,
with Nicolas
as,
Cage and
as an older priest.
cool.
So he's got bits and pieces of TV shows on like The Equalizer and Blacklist and Blue Bloods and stuff like that. So he's doing a few things here and there. I mean, I just don't recognize him, I guess, when I see him anymore.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you somebody I do recognize when I see her, and that's Miss Marcy Darcy herself, the one that played Amy Peterson.
Mhm.
So that's Amanda Bierce. So for those of you who watched this movie and you think back to it, Charlie's girlfriend Amy, and you're looking and you're like, if you're thinking to yourself, why does she remind me of somebody? That's because that is Marcy Darcy.
Married with children.
Al's favorite chicken.
Yeah, I loved every episode of that show.
Oh my gosh. Do you know what? Every time I see her, do you know what I think of when I see her though? And of course, with my terrible green screen, people aren't going to see this anyway if I do it. But she is saying something, but she's mad because Al is referring to her as a chicken again. And
she starts
she got both hands on her hips, on her fist, and she's leaning forward to Jefferson. Jefferson, tell him I don't look like no chicken. It's like her head's bobbing back and forth, like like she's pecking the ground or something.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that really is a funny show though. Movie wise, I don't know how many movies that she did. Honestly, I just really know her from Married with Children.
To tell you the truth, the only thing that I know her from is Fright Night and Married with Children. I mean, everything else, I don't know.
We're gonna take a quick sneak peek, but I mean, it just says on IMDb she's well known for Fright Night and Married with Children, a TV series called Nikki, and looks like a movie called Bros in 2022. Now she's done more than that. I mean, she's done more than this. I'm just saying that's what they say she's well known for. But if you want to get down to it, I'm back in 84 again, where 85 where Fright Night is. And around that time frame, she's got something called Fraternity Vacation, Protocol, the TV series Hotel, TV movie called Goddess of Love, and some more TV series and stuff. So she's never really had a large movie career.
Yeah.
Now, is it Joffrey's or Jeffries?
It's Stephen Joffrey's.
It is Joffrey's. Okay.
Yeah.
Played Evil Ed from Fright Night, of course, and 976 Evil.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? 976 Evil, and Evil's his nickname in this movie here too.
Exactly. I tell you what, if they were to, I don't say to actually make a remake of 976 Evil,
Mm-hmm.
but if they could actually, you know, take some of the special effects from like today and add it to that movie
Mhm.
because I mean, like the movie is awesome. I mean, I love that movie. I mean, it's one of my favorite movies to watch. But the only thing is the special effects. It just kills me in that movie. It just, I mean, I don't know if you've seen it, but like there's a scene where the ground opens up and it looks like it's claymation, and it's just, I know, I was like, dude, it's
It's
bad.
a little bit
It's
too
bad.
much, a little too cheesy for you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it as bad as the movie? I think it was called The Gate, where this thing falls down and it breaks into like many different creatures and crawls off.
Yeah, those little dudes running around. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy.
Mm.
Jonathan Stark, he just plays the role of Billy Cole. I think that was the roommate and the assistant to Jerry Dandrige.
Yeah, the
Now, what
zombie.
I started to say, was he a zombie? Is that what he's supposed to be?
I want to
Because
say that he was
I
a
mean,
zombie.
they shoot him. Peter Vincent shoots him in the head, basically, and you think he's
Yeah,
dead,
shoots him first time right off in the head.
right? And then you see Jerry Dandrige as he's saying something to them, and he does
Yeah.
something and takes off, and then you see dude in the background start to stand up, but
Mm-hmm.
he's not a
Yeah, he leans
vampire.
up. He literally leans up off the ground,
Yeah,
and then he gets shot one more time, and then he's still coming, and then he shoots him 5 more times, and then it's like all the smoke from the gun, and
right.
then you hear this body crumple on the bottom of the stairs, and then you hear the step creak, and then
Yeah,
you
he's
all of a
coming
sudden
again.
you see these hands like come up like this, and then he's all like, and then the blood's just trickling down his face.
But then
But
but it takes Charlie putting the stake in him before he finally just dies altogether.
exactly, yeah, he puts a stake in his chest, and then that's when he starts. Now that has some really good special effects for when he started to like disintegrate, and like, everything, all the flesh was like falling off of him and everything, and
Hmm.
yeah, and then like and then you can see his hand kind of like, go to like
Right.
bones, and
It
then it
was
was
it was
like
all
sand. Yeah,
it was almost like when the skin and the muscle and everything's going away and it's just like green liquid stuff. It's almost like you're watching the Wizard
oh
of Oz.
yeah, yeah.
You expect to hear in the background, "I'm melting, I'm melting."
Mhm.
He literally was melting though. And who
Yeah,
do we have?
exactly.
And who do we have to thank for that other than Charlie? Mr. Peter Vincent himself, played by Roddy McDowall.
Yeah,
I
excellent.
know, I know already. You know what Roddy McDowall was known for before this.
Yeah, Cornelius, Planet of the Apes.
Is it Cornelius or Caesar?
Cornelius.
Because I'm looking at Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, and he plays Caesar. It says.
Yeah, he might have been Caesar in Conquest, but in the original with Charlton Heston, the Planet of
Okay.
the Apes, he was Cornelius. I think I might have that wrong. What is it? What is it? Shit.
Well, we shall find out. What year was that when it came out?
It was before Star Wars, so
All
I
right,
want to
that's
say
good enough.
75, 74.
Well, let's see. We are in the 70s at this point. I'm down to the 70s now. And I see a lot of TV shows for sure. There's Conquest, that was in 72. Escape from Planet of the Apes, he was Cornelius, you're right, in 71.
Yeah,
So there you go. Two different players in the or players, two
because
different people.
I know in what was it?
Now in
Escape from.
battle, look, in Battle for the Planet of the Apes, also he was Caesar.
Oh, that man, that's kind of weird because I thought for sure in the original Planet of the Apes he was Cornelius.
And then here's something else funny for you. In 1974, he did 14 episodes of the TV series Planet of the Apes and played the character
Yeah,
Galen.
Galen. Yeah,
So I guess it didn't matter. You just threw some monkey makeup on him and call him what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on,
But I
Lord.
know. But what's crazy is in Escape from Planet of the Apes, when at the very end of the movie, when oh the one actor that played in Wrath of Khan, he played Khan. Uh,
That would be the guy from Fantasy Island, Ricardo
yeah,
Montalban.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. He actually gets the baby monkey, and that actually grows up to be Caesar. So in a way, that actually kind of makes a little sense
Yeah,
because he could actually play that role, and he would just look like his father. So
I didn't realize he was in this movie, the cartoon TV movie for Return of the King. He was the voice of Samwise Gamgee.
oh, nice.
The things we learned, I had no idea
Yeah,
that
well,
he did that.
Roddy McDowall, his career, man, should have probably started in the early '50s or mid '50s.
Oh, I'm sure.
When he
I'm sure he was earlier. I'm sure about that. Back for Fright Night 2 is Peter Vincent again. Did some TV shows in the 80s, Murder She Wrote, Matlock, um, some others to go along with there, some special series and such. I thought I seen somewhere where he was in Jumanji.
started.
I'm headed back up to that now.
I don't remember him in Jumanji.
Of course, that'd be the first Jumanji with Robin Williams.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
no, I'm sorry. No, was there a TV series for Jumanji? It was a
Yes.
car. It was a cartoon.
Yeah.
That's why I don't remember it then. Okay, 1997 cartoon for Jumanji. He was Furbish the Humble in one episode. Okay.
Huh.
I thought that I seen something where it was the movie Jumanji. I'm like, I do not remember him in Jumanji.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah.
Anyways, all right. Well, see who else we have in here we want to bring up real quick. That pretty much covers most of the cast, but I want to throw one more out there because I have only seen him in one or two other movies. But Art Evans, um, the thing I remembered him
The,
from the most, and it came after this movie. So this came first. He played Detective Lennox, and he's the guy in Die Hard 2 that helps McClane get around the airport with the maps and everything.
yeah, the cop.
The
Yeah.
cop, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I've seen him in a few other things as well. But I mean, that's the one thing that comes to mind whenever I think about him and everything.
That that still was funny when I can't remember if they're actually standing in the house, but they're both he's either standing in the house and he's talking to Billy.
Uh huh.
And then Charlie's like, he's a vampire. And
The
then
guy's like,
and
ooh.
then the black and he's like, ooh, and then the black guy's like, the black cop, he's like, you got to be kidding me with this. Get out the door. And he's like,
We're not having none of this. Let's go,
yeah,
man. Oh, we touched on the special effects a little bit, especially talking about the part where Billy kind of melts away and then blows away with the dust and everything. What you think about the overall special effects of the movie?
excellent for the time period, man, super excellent.
I mean, it's the
I
era
mean,
before CGI really took over.
yeah, and
So,
practical special effects
mhm.
for that day and age. I mean, the whole scene where Evil Ed, like he's the wolf, and
Mhm.
then they actually had a wolf like running down the hall after coming up to Peter Vincent, and then Peter bumps into the table and then breaks it, and he has that leg, and he puts it right through him when he puts it through the wolf, and then he pitches the wolf over the banister, and then literally the wolf lands on the chandelier, and it's like the chandelier's like jumping around and banging, and then he hits the ground, and then the wolf hits the ground, and he's starting to crawl off. The only thing that I thought that was a little cheesy, just that part right there,
Yeah.
was that when the wolf was crawling off, you could actually see some of the wires that was kind of like pulling the carcass on.
Yeah.
But
That's happened in
other
quite a
than
few
that,
movies back then, though, where you could
yeah.
spot wires and things that they didn't really catch.
But
And
other than that, when he starts to turn back human from wolf, dude, that was the cleanest special effects I'd seen in a movie, like that. So,
what about when Jerry Dandrige turns into the bat?
oh yeah, well, that was good too.
I mean, that was kind of both campy and yet still kind of scary in a sense, especially if you're young enough watching it and to where you can appreciate it for what it is. I remember being younger and watching it, and the whole bat thing was kind of scary, but kind of funny in a sense too, because it looked like a very
Mhm.
silly looking
And,
bat. To be honest with you,
and my thing is, where did Peter get the wooden stick that he puts in the Jerry, the vampire bat Jerry?
well, one
Because
of
it's
them
like,
there was something they got knocked into or got thrown into or something, and it broke apart, if I remember correctly. And he just reached over and
mm,
saw that and grabbed it real quick and put it up there. But
yeah,
I mean, it's trying to bite him. It scratches him across the head, turns around, bites
yeah,
Charlie on the
yeah,
arm.
scratches him on the cheek, yeah,
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of freaky. Like, I wouldn't want that in my face like that. But I'm just sitting there
exactly,
thinking, just take the thing. You got your hands on it, you're grabbing it, just take it, and sling it back or something where you can get up or do something.
or
Just lay there.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
guess I
but
guess when you're scared silly or something, you can't do nothing but
mm,
you know
yeah. I mean, yeah, what reaction are you gonna have? I mean, he does eventually, like when the vampire bat creature, he gets a stick out of his mouth, and he goes and he pulls, and then the little arm thing reaches over and grabs him, and he's gonna bite him, and then that's when he leans him up real fast, and the sun hits him,
yeah.
and you see all the smoke come out of him.
All right, right. I would tell you one of the special effects though that I did think was kind of a well, it's even listed as an error in a way, or a goof, on IMDb. When Dandridge is in the house with Charlie, he's there to kill him that night. He's trying to push him out the window where he'll land on the picket fence down there, and impale himself in the fence.
Mhm.
And Charlie grabs the pencil and he stabs him in his hand. It's got him on his throat. Now, watching this, the first thought you have is that's going to go through his hand into his jugular. What's he doing?
Exactly.
But he
Exactly.
pulls his hand back, and it's not in his throat. And nothing hurt his throat at all. But you look at Dandridge's hand, and the
Yeah,
pencil it's perfectly
yeah,
in the middle on both sides. Like,
yeah. It's on
how
both
did
sides.
how'd the pencil go through that far and not get in his neck?
Mhm.
There's a major goof right there they did, and anybody who watches it will pick up on it when they watch it. Maybe not a young kid scared to movie or something, but if you're just watching it, kind
Yeah,
of analytical, like in a way.
You pick it up real quick. Yeah.
Yeah, you do. It's crazy. Oh my gosh. Fright Night itself hits the theaters like we mentioned before, 1985. Box office success, bringing in around $24.9 million. Had like a modest budget of about $9 million. Showing that there was still a little bit of life left in the vampire genre, which had kind of been a bit stale
Mhm.
at the time. When was the last good vampire movie before Fright Night, you think? Had to be a good
Oh,
bit.
yeah. Well, I can't remember. Did Vamp come out before Fright Night, or was it after?
I don't really know.
That movie with Grace Jones.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up to see. I don't know. I'm not sure, but it talks about its legacy of what it's done. How it continues today. Not only did it spawn its sequel, Fright Night 2, but you mentioned this earlier. You wanted to bring this up. It inspired a 2011 remake starring Colin
Yeah.
Farrell and Anton Yelchin. So
Yeah.
while the remake brought a modern twist to the story, it's the original that remains the beloved classic among horror fans. Now, it's
Oh
absolutely 100% correct because while, and I did see it, I told you, but it's not so memorable to me that I can quote you anything from the remake. But I can tell you many different scenes from the original.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I mean, the only scene that literally stands out from the remake is the part where David Tennant plays Peter Vincent character,
Mhm.
and there's a scene where like I want to say um, like Peter Vincent is like some like magician or something, and he's all dressed in like black leather, and he's all got this black makeup around his eyes. He looks like Chris Angel for some reason, and but that was the only thing that stood out. I mean,
Well, if you think about it, about this movie also, what it's done for future films and TV and everything, because they gave you a nice little blend in the storytelling of both being scary and fun at the same time. So you've got a little humor in it, a little fun stuff to it, but yet it's still scary with what's going on and what's happening. Some of the things that you see influence maybe some shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer or Supernatural,
exactly.
because
Yeah.
Supernatural definitely has a little humor tagged in with it.
Yeah, oh,
with,
definitely,
with what they do. So I mean, don't mess with the Winchesters.
yeah, don't mess with
Sammy,
me.
don't mess with Sammy. It's my brother. He's a demon, but he's my brother.
But
Why do I talk like this?
but what I thought was crazy, you mentioned Supernatural, versus like the vampires that coming from Fright Night,
Mhm.
and it's like you see the vampire in Fright Night. He at first he has like normal things, with just normal teeth,
I think it's
and then
crazy.
but when he really starts changing, I mean, his features, he gets all these, deep cut lines in his face, and then his teeth look like just jagged razors. But when you go to supernatural vampires, it's like you get that almost same look, but it's like Jaws on steroids.
Exactly. Um, so just to go over a few little trivia bits here of the movie. Chris Sarandon's idea to have Jerry eating apples throughout the film. I'm sorry, it was Sarandon's idea to have Jerry eating apples throughout the film. He says while researching vampire lore, Sarandon looked at information about bats, and he concluded from the character and how he was written that Jerry had a lot of fruit bat in his DNA.
Yeah,
Or he was fruit bat. Oh my gosh. Because of his theatrical roots and his long hours spent in the makeup chair, Chris Sarandon helped apply his own vampire makeup and often worked on the finger extensions while the makeup artists were putting the appliances on his face and everything to make him look like his scary self.
That's cool.
Did you notice? Oh, I don't know if you've seen this before or not, but Christopher Lee is in the credits of the movie. A brief credit because because in the
because of the scene, the scene in on the TV,
right in the background of the television showing that movie.
Yeah,
Like,
because
cool.
when Charlie and Amy, I think it was like at the very beginning of the movie, it was Christopher Lee, the vampire that was on the TV in the background.
Yeah. Tom Holland, he's like at the time that the movie was being filmed, the studio was sinking all of its efforts into making a hit of the movie perfect. I don't know if you remember that or not. Jamie Lee Curtis and John Travolta. They also gave high priority to a movie called The Slugger's Wife. I do not know what that is at all. That does not ring a bell. But he says nobody paid attention to Fright Night, he said, which was wonderful. They were left alone. Nobody was bothering them. There's no distractions. Concentrate on your other things. Yes. It also, we mentioned on McDowall in Planet of the Apes, it says one of the life masks of Roddy McDowall taken for the Planet of the Apes franchise is visible in Peter Vincent's apartment. I did not see that. Now I want to go back and
I
look.
didn't see that at all neither.
No, now
I'll
I
have to
want to
go
go
back.
back and look.
Yeah,
Exactly.
now I got to go back and look.
I want to see for myself. It's cool how they do these things sometimes. Little nods to previous movies or something else that was done by the director, or something of that nature. Like whenever they did, I was watching Weekend at Bernie's. We were going to do a Weekend at Bernie's several weeks back, and we had some issues where we had to reschedule the show. So in November we'll go back and do it. But I just want to bring up real quick as far as things like this. The director for Weekend at Bernie's did Rambo, and yeah, I think I don't know if he did First Blood or not. He did Rambo First Blood Part 2 for sure, because they made a reference to Rambo when the guy come in to try and kill him. I think it was two guys that come in before. One of them was the guy like the new gardener, and the other is the gardener that got fired. The gardener got fired. They thought was the guy coming to kill him, so they knock him out with something. And then the other one, who was the new one, comes in. The new one that comes in is the guy that played the bad Vietnam guy in Rambo 2. The one that stands there and is shooting at him with his pistols. He gets the exploding arrow hit him. Him, and he's even dressed like him too, in a sense. The gardening outfit resembles his uniform from the second one. And then whenever I think when the actual killer gets knocked out, tied up, or something like that, or maybe it's when the two gardeners get knocked out, you hear Jonathan Silverman yell out, "You can come out now, Rambo. It's all done." So little things like that you toss in from previous movies or tie-ins with your director or something. Those are always cool. But I got to go back and look for that now to see that mask, if it's really to see it there and where it's at in there. I did not notice that at all.
Exactly. Yeah. Because now I want to. Hey, I got an opportunity tomorrow at lunchtime. I can
Right.
just go to that scene and just watch it.
Right. Let's see.
But
Tom Holland. This is.
I'm
Go
trying
ahead.
to think what scene what it would be. You think it might be where Ed and Amy go to talk to Peter at his house?
Yes, it would be that. I'm sure. That's the only time
Okay.
That's the only time we really see his apartment.
Well, not
Or his
really.
house.
Because when Ed goes and sees him after he's been, what happened to
Well, that's
Ed?
right. That's right.
Yeah, and then he goes inside, and then so it might have been in that scene, but that scene was so dark, it looked like everything was in candlelight for some reason. I mean, did you get that feel too? Because it was like he's in the apartment. You would think he'd want all kinds of lights on. I mean, every
Right.
single light could have been on,
Right.
but it's like Ed walks in, and then it's just barely a little bit of light just trickling in, but it gave it that creepy feel.
It says now how the part where when Peter Vincent first realizes that Dandrige is a vampire, he can't see his reflection in the little mirror he's got.
Yeah.
Right. It says
Yeah.
the crew spent a lot of time and money composing the scene where Jerry walks through Mrs. Brewster's bedroom and casts no reflection in the mirror. And Tom Holland says it doesn't work. The audience never noticed it because he framed it badly. So I guess they were trying to make it to where you couldn't see his reflection, and it just never, whatever they did wouldn't work, I guess.
Yeah.
So since he
because when he's walking around in their bedroom, she's asleep, and he never even passes by anything that was a mirror or even resembled a mirror.
I guess
I mean,
that's
the only thing. I mean, the
probably
only
the way
thing
they
he
cut the
passes.
scenes, though. It probably was supposed to do it at first, and they couldn't get it to work. So he probably cut the scene 2 to 3 different angles of him walking through there, where it completely avoids the mirror in the background. You don't see it probably. Because it says here they couldn't get it to work, so he framed it badly. So I guess that means he had to take a couple extra cuts or something to make it disappear or something. That 66 Ford Mustang that Charlie drove in, it actually belonged to Tom Holland.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it said the car was actually totaled though in an accident a decade later. That's a shame.
Man, killing the fastback Mustang.
That was a nice car. I mean, needed a good paint job on it, but
Well,
other than
I know in the second maybe it was painted tan, a real light tan. So
now, do you know where they came up with the name Peter Vincent? Have you ever heard this
Peter,
before?
maybe for Vincent Price.
That's
Or,
half of where it came from.
yeah,
So it says,
and
can you think of
the Peter
anybody else?
part, I'm not sure.
All right, so it says he's named for two actors well known for their appearances in horror movies. One is Vincent Price, and the other is Peter Cushing.
Oh yeah, the other Van Helsing.
The fact that Amy resembles a lost love of Dandridge's was Chris Sarandon's idea. He wanted Dandridge to have added dimension and not just some evil bad guy. Well, he wasn't. He was an evil bad guy. He was just a vampire.
He
I
was,
mean,
yeah. I mean, I would have liked it better if he was just the evil bad guy.
that's the whole point of it, right?
Exactly. And it would have, well, and then the whole part where he bites her to turn her, you know, that was kind of, because you would think if he loved her, he wouldn't want her to be no vampire. So,
And speaking of her, this when he was turning her, you mentioned the part about the teeth changing.
mhm.
It says here, while blocking a scare scene, director Tom Holland asked visual effects man Randall William Cook if he could devise a shark mouth, in the quotations it says a shark mouth for one of the vampires. There was neither time nor money left in the budget to create an elaborate prosthetic, but Cook agreed to concoct a rig over the weekend with the provision that it would only be, or proviso that it would only be seen on screen for a few seconds, so that you couldn't tell how bad it was, I guess, right? Ultimately,
Yeah,
the crudely made mouthpiece was not only featured extensively in the film, it was also utilized in the movie's famous poster art, which it was. If you
yeah,
remember
it was, yeah.
some of the original posters. So he went from something that wasn't going to be any good and didn't want anybody to see it more than a couple of seconds to something that was just
Yeah, it was
utilized
in the
greatly.
movie. Yeah, which that was one of the craziest scenes, anyways, because she's all she's all like she's all huddled down like this, and she's like, "You promised he wouldn't get me. You promised." And
Yeah.
then he's all like, I'm sorry, and he's going to grab her and everything, and then she turns around and she just like full on shark mode.
Like, ah. Oh my gosh. See, I'm surprised somebody hasn't done something with that scene to make it funny. I could see you could add a dozen things to that when she whips around and suddenly someone says something. I mean, to make a funny
Yeah.
scene out of it. Do you know? I mean, now they released DVDs and
I
stuff.
wanted to ask you,
Yeah.
what did you what did you think about like? I mean, it's crazy that she went from short hairdo to getting bit, and then her hair is all the way down her back,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, I'm like, is that just bad makeup, or is that somebody different,
I mean,
or are
do
we?
you
Or is,
get bit by a vampire and your hair grows all of a sudden? Because if that's the case, you and
hey,
I need to make some phone calls.
hell yeah,
I mean, like just a little on the side right here, so I can get a little back
yeah,
on top. That's all I'm
yeah,
looking for.
just right here on the top.
That was weird though. I mean, I wondered the same thing when I watched them. Like, why is there such a major change in that? Shouldn't there still just be? I mean, I understand the teeth and maybe deformed kind of face in a way, but the hair. Why'd the hair grow out all of a sudden?
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, because
well,
when Jerry hauls ass downstairs, and then he's hiding out in the basement, and then they're both down there, and then you see her coming down the steps, and then she makes that turn, and then literally it's like no longer short hair, now it's long hair, and it's all frazzled, like, it's like it's like somebody took her finger and put it in a light socket, and it's like,
It's like, no, don't stop her. Let her go ahead. Let's hold on.
yeah,
Go ahead, dear.
yeah,
Well, you want to do that again? They made a well, a lot of times when the DVDs are released on a movie had been out in quite a while, there's usually extras on there, right? Anything from deleted scenes to commentaries by the stars or something. They never got asked to do any DVD extras on the release of the
Blu-ray?
of the original DVD. I guess I don't know. It mentions here in 2008 that all of the principal cast members, except for Amanda Bierce, who was unavailable at the time, recorded 2 pirate commentaries, which were released as free MP3s on the Icons of Fright website in 2008. Due to a contractual stipulation with Sony, distributor Twilight Time was unable to produce original content for their 30th anniversary edition Blu-ray release in 2015, so they included both commentaries and other pre-existing bonus materials. So they couldn't do anything new with it, I guess. This is the first vampire film also to spend $1 million on special effects.
I can believe it.
Of their $9.5 million budget, $1 million of it went to special effects. So, and I've often asked this question, and I think I got my answer when we did Firestarter. I wondered, do the actors and actresses money they get paid to do the role, is that a part of the budget for the film? I've asked this before. None of us have been really sure of it. And I think I looked it up one day. I didn't really find anything on it. Maybe I searched it incorrectly, but I remember doing Firestarter. They said they wanted to have George C. Scott in it, and it cost them. They had to go back and ask for an additional $1 million to the budget to be able to get him in.
Yeah,
So I guess the budget does include what they make. So, it says
they didn't get paid much then.
Well, I'm sitting there thinking, well, $9.5 million with $1 million of it going to special effects, at least $8.5 million. You've got so many stars. You got William Ragsdale, Sarandon, you got McDowall, you got and Amanda Bierce wasn't known at the time. Stephen Joffrey's wasn't really known at the time. Not much really. As far as it goes, William Ragsdale wasn't really known at the time. So these people didn't take much money probably to get into it. They're trying to get in and get their break, right? And get known.
So probably Sarandon and McDowell probably
they probably got paid the most.
They probably were the money makers. So.
Probably, and it probably wasn't a ton of money then either. I don't know, but I do know this movie was the most financially successful horror film in 1985. The 1985 summer season at that's when it was released, and the second highest grossing horror film of 1985. Behind A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. And the only reason why that movie, Freddy's Revenge, made all that money is because people were going off the first one thinking it was going to be great. And they did not get what they wanted.
They were really disappointed.
Went completely off the story to something different. And at the time, nobody really understood why this was going on. But if you think about it, as it went on, as time went on, you didn't see a lot of reoccurring things in the Elm Street movies. You had Nancy come back in the third one, which also introduced Kristen. Kristen went on to get killed in the fourth one, which brought in Alice. Then Alice had fourth and fifth, and then killed off in the fifth. No, she didn't get killed off. No, she survived. She survived it, but she didn't come back for nothing else. They didn't go any further with that one. So they
never really explained too much in like Freddy's Dead, because it was like they didn't. I mean, it just jumps right into
they acted like they weren't going to make any more movies. Is what they acted like, and then they came around. They thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool to make an Elm Street movie where it's like we're filming the movie and the actual Freddy comes? They're filming the movie in real life, and all of a sudden the Freddy really comes to life in people's dreams. Won't that be cool?
Or the sorely disappointing remake of Nightmare on Elm Street, the original. So like I said, disappointment.
And Christopher Sarandon almost didn't make the movie. He made a horror movie in 1977 called The Sentinel, and he had such a bad experience with it that he really was apprehensive, it says, about taking a role in another horror movie. But meanwhile, Tom Holland decided to direct Fright Night himself because he was so disgusted by the film that he had been made from his last screenplay, Scream for Help. Both movies were directed by Michael Winner. So I guess he talked him into doing it since he was going to do it, direct it himself versus somebody else doing it. I don't know, but he eventually caved into it. A puppet that was created for the ghost librarian's monstrous visage in Ghostbusters was rejected as being too terrifying for a PG movie. When the effects crew subsequently went to work on this film, they realized the rejected model resembled the vampire bat that they created, so they repurposed it. They repurposed it and utilized it for the vampire's fiery destruction.
That's funny.
Oh my gosh! Let's see if it brings up anything in here about some other people. I know William Ragsdale got injured in the movie. He injured his foot running in a staircase during the last shot, filmed on December 24th of '84. Says 3 weeks into principal photography, the action scenes were postponed until he was healed sufficiently to perform them, and the director filmed the scenes to stay on schedule. But accidents happen, I guess.
That's true.
Jonathan Stark auditioned with the scene where he'd be questioned by the detective. The scene was written to be played straight, but Stark decided to play it comically, which won him the role. Ooh. Oh my gosh. The final shot that Jonathan Stark filmed was his introduction to the character, where he was painting the window and he's seen Charlie coming across the
and then he slaps the paintbrush down like, what's this kid doing? Why is he coming over here?
Get off my lawn, kid. Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn.
Now, I did notice this. I'm reading this right now. I noticed this. Did you catch it, though? What's the song Jerry is whistling as he sneaks into Charlie's bedroom?
Wasn't it Strangers in the Night?
Strangers in the Night by Frank Sinatra.
Yes.
Oh, I thought that was funny. Amanda Bierce was required to remove her top for a scene in the film in which her back and shoulders are viewed, but she was uncomfortable being topless in front of the crew, so she covered her front with duct tape. Real quick, throw out your favorite scene of the movie, and then we'll go ahead and let you go from here.
Favorite scene in the movie? Man, that's hard to choose. The whole movie is just great. My favorite part, I've already touched on it before. I love the part where Ed is the wolf, and then he's charging Peter in the hall, and then the table breaks, and then Peter puts the piece of the table into the wolf's chest, and then he flips him over, and then he hits the chandelier, then he hits the floor, and then he's crawling off on the floor. But the whole scene where Peter is downstairs now, and he's looking at Ed turning back from wolf to man, that whole scene is just incredibly, it's just how the special effects was, and it's like you see how Ed's he's part human, and he's got all these long fingers with all these nails, and then the top part of him is literally like wolf. It was all these vampire teeth, and he's still got the pointed ears, and then what was very poetic about that part is that Ed's reaching out, almost saying, help me, and then Peter almost reaches to him, and then he pulls his hand back, but you see tears coming down Roddy McDowall's face.
Yeah,
Like Yeah,
Gotcha.
like he's
He's back to
sad.
being Ed again,
Yeah.
you know, not the vampire thing. Exactly. I got you.
Yeah. That he's actually, sad for like what happened. That he was sorry that he had been turned into a vampire and everything like that. So
Yeah. All right, what's about time we go ahead and wrap things up? It looks like here we got basically, if you're a first time listener, let you know you like what you hear and everything. Make sure you follow us on these social media places. We're at Facebook, we're at Instagram. We have a place on TikTok. We don't do a whole lot with TikTok, but I mean, if you really want something that's TikTok like, visit us on YouTube. You'll just search us for Retro Life for You on YouTube. And that's Retro Life, the number 4 YOU. And we'll pull up on there. All of our videos go up each week when we do the shows. And I'm in the process of uploading the older ones and some new separate content as well here shortly. So I know I've been saying shortly for a while, but been working on it with some people. This one right here included. Will be doing something with me soon for extra content. And so it's going to be some fun stuff. Make sure that you do follow us on Spotify as well as iTunes. You can find us there. If you listen to us on iTunes, drop us a little feedback there. And if you listen to us on Spotify, then they offer you the chance to leave us a star rating. I believe it is 1 through 5. So, of course, 5 stars. That's what we are. 5 stars easy. So, anyway, Marty, I'm going to leave you with one thing here that we're going to go. Do you know what a vampire's favorite holiday is, man? Since it's holiday season coming up, do you know what a vampire's favorite holiday is?
what?
It's Thanksgiving.